Hey friends, I hope you're doing really well today. And I want to again thank everybody for being patient with me this week. I typically do Monday and Wednesday or Monday and Thursday videos, but I needed to take a little space yesterday. So I did that, and today's Tuesday doing my live video, and I am so grateful you're here. We are in part two of, it's like kind of a 3-section series about some of the physiology of fight, flight, freeze, or please. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the window tolerance in the 3rd section. But this week, we're in the 2nd section where we're talking about what's known as the freeze response, right? So freeze and people please. And we're going to just talk a little bit about the physiology today, and then maybe some of the more emotional and mental aspects of that that body state that you might be experiencing and how it impacts your food. So today's video, let me just do a couple definitions. So freeze is just a word for basically everything kind of slowing down in your physiology. And that will happen in your brain and your body because maybe your body has tried to do some fight or flight, or you felt some anxiety, and you can either feel some fight or flight for a second, or maybe you've been in maybe some chronic activation, like high activation, flight response for months or years, and your body just can't do it anymore. So a freeze or a dissociative state just means your body gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to kind of leave and have less awareness and preserve your energy. That's what freeze is about, because you've been too overwhelmed with no change in state, no safety, no relief for a really long time. What's tricky with the food and body image part of this is that a lot of times, if you've had a lot of instances of checking out emotionally because you needed to, maybe your circumstances were too overwhelming, too chaotic, too dangerous, and mostly I'm talking here, it could be physical, but a lot of times the clients I work with, they've lived in environments where things were just chronically too much or not enough. And the brain's like, it's just not safe for this little person to really fully feel and experience all this. So we'll check out. And it can feel like the checkout happens in your mind. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of that stuff on the next session or the next video. But physically, it could be in parts of your body, like your metabolism, your digestion. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is if you find yourself with these up and down weird gut issues. I know there's lots of diagnosis for this, but what I see a lot of times is that most people's gut health really, really is dependent on their state of, am I in my window of tolerance and I feel relatively safe enough? Or am I vacillating between fight or flight or freeze or please, or staying in a lot of freeze? Okay. And that is where you'll have the ups and downs with your gut health. Sometimes it feels like you can digest anything, and sometimes it feels like nothing's moving or everything's going through me, and you vacillate between the two. And all the symptoms go with that, right? So bloating and gassiness and all that. And when people share those symptoms with me as a dietitian, I'm like, all right, so what's going on in their state? Let's track your day, not just with your food, but where and how long have you been out of your window of tolerance, or have you even been in it? All right. So physiologically, when you're in freeze, you just feel less here. Okay. And there's the range of we'll call dissociation or freeze is pretty broad, from everyday dissociation, which is not remembering, how you got to work, and daydreaming, let's say, and staring out in space kind of stuff, and not feeling your body, to all the way over to, it's a kind of a broad spectrum of intensity, to even dissociative identity disorder. So, not everybody who dissociates is over here. Most people are here in this, not really hearing what I'm saying. So if I'm working with somebody and I can feel them kind of float out, there's something I said that triggered some kind of, it could just be, hey, I think we need to work on getting more grains in your intake, and somebody will check out. So clearly there's a threat response over coupled with food, and then I have to work with where did that happen to them and what's going on. That they're taking an innocuous thing, grains, and it's over coupled with a dissociative response. I got to get out of here. That's dangerous. those are some things that we work on in our sessions. So some of the things, again, just like this, the gut issue is a really big tell, of a long history of checking out. Dulled senses. I can't hear, you maybe can't hear as well, see as well, smell as well, taste as well. Low sense of hunger or fullness, and low sense of awareness of your interoceptive life, what's inside you. Can you name it? Can you feel it? And that's a lot of the work, obviously, with intuitive eating, is being able to articulate with clarity what you're experiencing and making a match with that, whether it's your food, your sleep, your activity, who you hang out with, all that. If you don't know how you feel inside, you're just reaching and guessing, right? Which causes, one of the things I see a lot of times with binge eating. It's like people are reaching for something that's kind of sort of like what their needs are, but not really, kind of thing. But I also see shallow breathing in people, drooping muscles, and like especially in the face, in the shoulders, kind of slunched, and just slow to respond when you're with someone and you're with them, but you can tell in your own system, I'm here with them, but they're not really here with me. So if you're experiencing, a lot of people, we're not going to talk about this, what I see in detail today, but I'll just say a couple things that usually when people are in that response, their food is over or under, just naturally, because you can't feel yourself inside. You've left the building, basically. And people are usually eating to feel something, because it can feel very existentially angsty to not feel at home inside and feel like you're tethered to the ground and all that. Or a lot of people who are in, maybe have been in some checked outness for more than just a couple minutes or hours. It's been a long time. They really very much lose track of their needs, and they'll say like, I didn't mean to restrict. I just didn't really notice how hungry I was until I had a headache, or things like that. So it's just really important to recognize that there isn't a specific symptom in terms of your food behavior with dissociation, but everybody's different. Some people don't check out as much around food and dissociation. They don't know what they need, but they just kind of eat, whatever diet they were last on, 10 years ago. They eat very robotically, or they eat to feel something. And that's the biggest things that I witness and I help people work on. So anyway, in the next video, we're going to talk about some of just the affect, what it feels like, emotionally and mentally to not really fully be here, So that's the gist of what we're doing today. I hope that this video was helpful, and it made some sense for you. And so, of course, after we finish all of these videos, people have been waiting for well, what do I do about this? If you can't wait for next week, that's okay. What I'd like for you to do is go to my YouTube channel and type in my name with fight or flight, freeze or please. And I have a lot of videos that I've covered some of this already, so you can go back and review. And then we're going to do another review here, probably with a little bit more new information next week about, what do I do if I'm in fight or flight or freeze or please, and I'm recognizing it, and I don't want to use dieting or binging to deal with that. That's what we'll talk about next week. But anyway, hang on for one more video, and we'll do that soon. So thank you so much, and take care.